Welcome to Learn Shorthand Typing with Vikas sir. ट्रांसक्रिप्शन नंबर 39 वॉल्यूम नंबर 2। स्टूडेंट्स ये आपकी जो डिक्टेशन रहेगी 80 वर्ड पर मिनट की डिक्टेशन रहेगी 39 एंड 40 की। और जो स्टूडेंट्स 800 वर्ड्स लिखते हैं उनके लिए काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है ये सेशन, क्योंकि 800 से जितने भी आप वर्ड लिखोगे ना उतनी आपकी ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस होगी। सो बी रेडी, स्टार्ट। In presenting this report, my first duty would be to thank the DBAR Commission for preparing this valuable document. The Commission have gone deep into the various aspects of this program and have produced an important and valuable document. The Commission had to tour a lot and they had to put in every very hard work. I should like to convey my thanks and congratulations to the chairman of the commission, Sri Debhar, and also to his other colleagues for this useful contribution. As the House is aware, the program of the scheduled tribes has been constantly engaging the attention of the government since the constitution was framed and adopted. Still, the government were not satisfied with the actual progress made. It was in that context that the government appointed two committees before the Debar Commission was appointed. The first was the Alvin Committee, which specially dealt with the program of the tribal blocks. The second committee was appointed on the suggestion of the Estimates Committee to study the program of the backward communities, especially. On the top of that, in pursuance of Article 339 of the Constitution, the government appointed the Debar Commission, and now it is for the House to give its opinion on the recommendations made by the Commission. Our desire is that as soon as the Parliament, this House, as well as the other House, has discussed this report and expressed its views, we will go ahead with the recommendations made, and we will certainly like that they are implemented as early as possible. I do not want to enter into generalities, but it must be said that our country is vast and our programs are also immense. Generally, we are a very poor country, and it is true that during the British days we did not actually realize what poverty meant. People suffered without much protest, but now, when the country is trying to go ahead with economic development, it is but natural that every section of our community should like to progress simultaneously. I think if we are frank, we should admit that there are certain weaker sections of our community in the country who have not made as much as advance and progress as others have done. It has therefore become very important that we should lay special emphasis on the development of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. It is necessary, therefore, that we should carefully consider the various recommendations made and see what we can do to achieve a certain target within a prescribed period. The scheduled tribes have been living in isolated places far off places not connected with roads. They do not have any amenities of life, neither medical aid nor even proper educational facilities. We have to bring them out of that situation, and we must try to integrate those people and other sections of that. We should impose anything on them. We have to bring them out of that situation, and we must try to integrate those people with other sections of our countrymen. It is far from my mind to suggest that we should impose anything on them, whether our customs or our culture, though the culture is more or less common throughout the country, but every community has its own conventions and customs. Therefore, when I say that there should be complete integration, I do not mean to suggest that there should be imposition of anything on the tribal communities as such. Still, it is essential that integration will only be possible if their standards are raised, if they are more or less brought to the same level where we or the other people are who are not so isolated. So we have to bring these people to that level, and we can do that not by implementation implementing certain schemes only, but by bringing about a radical change in our outlook and approach. There may be different communities and different religions in our country, but India had its own unique tradition in the past which we have to carry on and maintain even now. In fact, our philosophic base has been unity in diversity, and in it is our good fortune that when we are free, when we have become independent, various communities and religions exist in our country, and it should be our effort to bring about complete unity and solidarity amongst ourselves even if our religions are different or we differ in our customs, rights, etc. So I think that it is a challenge to all of us, and I have no doubt that we will be able to meet this challenge. I do not want to take more time of the house. As I said in the beginning, I do not want to enter into generalities. So far as the recommendations of the Commission are concerned, they can broadly be divided into two categories. There are recommendations which are to be dealt with or which directly concern the Home Ministry and some other ministries of the Government of India. There are other recommendations which mainly concern the state governments. In fact, it is the state governments which have really to execute and implement the program. Stop. Next, transcription number 40. It was suggested by the Commission that there should be a separate department for the scheduled tribes. This matter was considered in the conference, but it was generally felt that if the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes are separated to be dealt with by different departments, there will be a good deal of duplication of work because two sets of officers will have to traverse the same area and more or less consider the same problems. It was therefore the unanimous opinion of the Conference of State Ministers that one department should deal with the problems of the scheduled castes and in the scheduled tribes, and it was also agreed that there should be a separate directorate for the same. If there is separate directorate, then it can concentrate on problems concerning the scheduled tribes. It was also suggested that this directorate to which will have to be set up in all the states and especially in states where the population of the scheduled tribes exceeds 1 million should also look after the work relating to the denotified and the nomadic tribes. In addition to, as I said, the work relating to the scheduled tribes. A conference was in favor of having tribes advisor councils to division on the protecting and development of the scheduled tribes in all the states and union territories, whether they have scheduled areas or not. The House, I am sure, is aware that there are scheduled areas or non-scheduled areas. Even in non-scheduled areas, a large number of scheduled tribes live, but for the special programs, we may decided to concentrate on the constitution scheduled areas first. I shall come to that point later on, but I am merely mentioning that the scheduled tribes live both in scheduled areas and in non-scheduled areas. It was decided that wherever at present there is in combined reservation in the services for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, separate percentage of reservation should be fixed by the state governments, and it was agreed that the state governments would instruct all local authorities like municipalities, panchayats, samitis, jila parshids, etc. to follow the policies laid down by them in regard to the representation of all scheduled tribes in the services. It was decided to have a small committee of officials from the tribal welfare department and the different department at the state level to ensure coordination. The conference also agreed that there should be a section under the Chief Secretary for evolution of the tribal welfare program if all these and other decisions taken at the conference are implemented with speed, as it is hoped they will be. There will be considerable improvement of the conditions which exist at present. I also want to mention, Madam, that we were told in the conference that this work was going to be entrusted to the Zilla Parsis and Panchayats, and some of the schemes which have to be implemented in the rural areas will be executed by the Panchayats and the Zilla Parsis. Well, I welcome this suggestion, but I only wanted to caution the district authorities and the state governments not to leave everything to the Zilla Parsis and Panchayats and have no supervision and watch over their work. My fear is that because this will be a new work for them, they may not be able to bestow enough attention to the problems or the schemes concerning the scheduled tribes. They will have many other things to do. So it would be necessary that the district authorities should keep constant watch, and they should function as the friend and guide of the panchayats and the Zilla Parsis. Madam, there are two major schemes in respect of the scheduled tribes in the central sector of the program, which are controlled by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and on which the entire expenditure is borne by the Government of India. These are the scheme of tribal government department blocks and the scheme relating to promotion of cooperation among the scheduled tribes, particularly in the form of forest laborers, cooperative societies, and labor contract societies. The Ministry of Home Affairs appointed a special working group on cooperation about a year ago, and its report is expected shortly. That group will make detailed recommendations regarding the organization and structure of the society and other matters pertaining to the cooperative movement in areas predominantly inhabited by the scheduled tribes. We hope that on the basis of the working group recommendations, it will be possible to energize and expand the cooperative movement in tribal areas, and that the cooperatives will become the effective instruments for promoting the economic development of those areas. The other program, which is the major one and in which a great deal of interest is being evinced by the tribals themselves, is the program of tribal development blocks. The commission have recommended that all tribal areas, whether they are scheduled areas or not, with a concentration of tribal population exceeding 50%, should be brought under the tribal blocks. Stop.